Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and the Indianapolis Colts take on Justin Herbert, Derwin James, and Los Angeles Chargers in a massive AFC showdown. Yes, this is a game that could potentially have seeding implications in the AFC. Let's start with Indianapolis, the 5-1 squad that just knows how to win, and in emphatic fashion. This run game led by Jonathan Taylor is incredible. People that took him in fantasy are definitely feeling the return already at the earlier stages of the season, turning the page into the middle of October. This guy is running the football as well as anybody in the National Football League. So far on the season, over 5 yards a carry, 600 yards, but not just that, he's getting into the box. He's got 7 rushing touchdowns on this season. Jonathan Taylor is the type of guy that changes how defenses prepare for you. He's got that Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson type effects that everybody needs to be aware of. And if I'm the Indianapolis Colts and I want to keep the football away from the dynamic ability, the playmaker in Justin Herbert, why not give Jonathan Taylor the rock 24, 25 times and establish something really strong here? Now, the Arizona Cardinals, you got to give that team credit because they hung in there the entire way. No Marvin Harrison Jr. for them, but they went shot for shot. No Kyler Murray, and they kept that game close. Taylor, though, 21 carries, $123, 6 yards a carry. He was awesome. And then the receiving core, Tyler Warren. If you're the Los Angeles Chargers, this is the type of guy you have to be aware of. I know that Jim Harbaugh knows a lot about Tyler Warren coaching in the Big Ten for Michigan. Warren blossomed into the incredible All-American player that he was a season ago. Last year, he wasn't the same type of guy 2 years ago when Harbaugh won the national championship with Michigan. He's still very much aware of what Warren is and what he provides to that offense. Remember, he coached Colston Loveland, who was his probably best receiving threat on that national championship team, goes 10th overall to Chicago. This year, for the Los Angeles Chargers, I mean, how are you going to stop that dynamic and really high-flying rushing attack? Daniel Jones also adds an element that you have to prepare for his legs also, although he's not running the football all that much this season, but he did have a rushing touchdown against Arizona. You saw him rush for 2 touchdowns in a game earlier in the year. I believe it was against Miami. Tuli Tuipulotu. This guy is playing at such a high level. I'm from Los Angeles. I know USC football well. I really think that this is a player that flies under the radar. He was awesome, a top 5 player in sacks at USC a couple of years ago, coming out in the draft, being taken the 2nd round, and just not that many players or people talk about him or know about him, simply, I think, because they don't want to say his name. They look at that name and they're like, I know he's getting the sacks and they got the tackles for loss and he's a heck of a football player. I just don't really want to say that name. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the only thing I can come up with as to why he doesn't get more attention on that Chargers front. Everyone still wants to talk about the Khalil Mack injury, but there's this guy, Tuli Tuipulotu, that is balling out for the Chargers, and I'm circling him in this matchup as a guy that can get after Daniel Jones and be a factor in run defense. That's so important in today's day and age for edge defenders, a guy that can be on the field all 3 downs, not just be your pass rusher when it's 2nd and 11 or 3rd and 7 trotting out there to get after the quarterback, but a guy that can be on the field on 3rd and 1. 1st and 10, he can be out there because he's just as good defending the run because he's got the power. He has the discipline to stay in his lane and be an unselfish player. This Chargers secondary is incredible at the ability to knock passes down. Very physical. I mentioned Derwin James in the very beginning of this video. Still one of those guys that can take over a game. That's why I'm so excited to see the rookie Tyler Warren matched up one-on-one with Derwin James. There's going to be a big opportunity. 3rd and 7 could be ball at the Chargers 30-yard line, and Indianapolis needs to keep the drive alive or settle for a long field goal. Derwin James lined up with Tyler Warren, and you get to see 2 great football players go head-to-head. Who are you taking in that one? Maybe you give it to the veteran and all-pro Derwin James, but Tyler Warren as a rookie, and the fact that you're not immediately giving it to the all-pro player, tells you about the level that he's played at. Remember, he was the second tight end taken in this draft. Chicago took Loveland over him, hasn't had all that much production, struggled with injuries. Tyler Warren's done nothing but score touchdowns, be the #1 receiving target for the Indianapolis Colts early in the season. It's frankly not that close. He's got to get into the box a bit more, but Michael Pittman, not too bad. Josh Downs got into the end zone last week. That's great to see that this kid is producing. He's got a fun podcast with his brother Caleb Downs, the best defensive player in college football, playing for Ohio State. So these brothers, Josh Downs, has just a toughness to him. He can take the top off of a defense, a versatile wide receiver, and he's been a decent target for Daniel Jones this year. He spread the ball around very nicely to all these guys in getting them the ball. And the key for them is that they've been so balanced because they can be set up 2nd and 4, staying out of 3rd and long, and be a balanced team, and that they're set up with 3rd and 2, and they can give it to Taylor once again and feel good about picking up the first down, or they don't have to, and they can pull the play action with Daniel Jones, get him rolling to his right. We've talked about the Indianapolis Colts and that offense quite a bit. Now let's flip it over to Los Angeles, because this team, and why I'm worried about this matchup against a very good Colts defense, is that they are down Slater. He hasn't played this season, and once Joe Alt went down, an offensive line that had gotten a lot of push, that had looked very good the first 3 games, then struggled against New York. And then the following week, that they were not able to play a good game. They really have been struggling the last couple of weeks against the Washington Commanders, dominated up front. I think Washington had 5 or 6 sacks at SoFi Stadium, and the Chargers bounced back a little bit against the Dolphins, and it came to a clutch Justin Herbert breaking out of pressure, throwing the ball away. The play before, he breaks out of a sack and hits McConkey, who makes a move and then sets up the Chargers for that game-winning field goal. I think the better play arguably might have been him not taking the sack the play before that and just throwing the ball at the feet of his wide receiver. The strength, 6'6", 230 pounds, to get out of there and chuck the ball down the field. Very impressive guy. But remember, this offensive line with Slaught with the ankle sprain, is he on the field? As of the recording of this video, I do not know his availability. And frankly, it's tough to come up with analysis and a prediction for a game when you have a player of his caliber. He's on that already all-pro like trajectory, going to be a great player in this league for a long time. But without his presence, the edge immediately goes to this Indianapolis Colts defensive front that's just getting pressure with so many different guys. 16 sacks on the season. That is more than an average of 3 a game. They're getting it so many different ways. Nick Cross, the safety, can come in on a blitz. DeForest Buckner in the middle and the interior, he's awesome. Zaire Franklin has been one of the best linebackers in the AFC for quite some time now, and frankly did not get all that much attention. Again, like Tuli Tuipulotu. I love saying that name. Why don't you like saying that name? Tuli Tuipulotu. I even messed it up. I should have just taken the money and gone to the bank when I had the chance there. But DeForest Buckner, Zaire Franklin has not gotten the attention all that much the last couple of years because the Colts haven't been a great team. A guy like Fred Warner that plays in a couple of Super Bowls, or Roquan Smith that's playing in big playoff games, the AFC Championship game, they get the credits, but Franklin gets lost in the sauce in a sense, like in Alua Khan with Jacksonville, another good inside off-ball linebacker. Just because they haven't been playing in the bigger games does not mean that they are not great football players. A very nice, rangy ability. What I've liked specifically about that back end and Nick Cross is how often he lives in the backfield. 4 tackles for loss on the season. My question is, Kenny Moore. Injuries, unfortunately, do have a very large impact on NFL games. Kenny Moore has not been available. They've done okay without him. They struggled against Los Angeles Rams, and Puka Nacua went off. Tutu Atwell with the big touchdown on the sideline. I think they beat the Rams maybe if they have Kenny Moore on the field. Against this Chargers offensive lineup, I don't know if Quentin Johnston is available for this game. So Keenan Allen, there's McConkey. They're trying to get the football more to Keandre Lambert-Smith, the burner. And they have all these weapons for the Chargers. This is a squad that isn't particularly the crazy duo that you might see with the Chase and Higgins. There's not many like that. Or Smith and A.J. Brown, Nacua and Adams like you have. But this is a squad with depth, 4 or 5 guys that all have elite route running ability. They've got that top end speed with Smith. Trey Harris, the rookie, I want to see him get a little bit more targets and involved in the passing attack. Again, you talk about injuries. Omarion Hampton still on IR. Doesn't look to be making a return till at least mid to late November for this team, so they have to make do without him. I just think that the Indianapolis Colts have played to such a high level this year that they have had the makings of a team that looks the part. They have a record of 5-1 to this point on the season for a good reason. That Los Angeles Chargers with the offensive line struggles, and if Joe Alt doesn't play, if a Quentin Johnston doesn't play, it's just that you don't have those guys available. Now, I have to make a prediction based on the information available to me. I believe that Indianapolis wins this football game in a close manner, 26-23. But if those guys do play, I put an asterisk. I think the Chargers get the win. That's how highly I view them and how important they are to the success of this team. Again, this team looked like maybe the best squad in football until Alt went down in that game against New York, and that has very much impacted the offense. Hampton goes down, and this squad has dealt with all of that. And look, no one's going to feel sorry for you. The more available players that you have on the field, frankly, is such an important factor. So the longevity of these teams, what they can be in the playoffs, might come down to who can stay healthy longer later in the season. Let me know down below in the comments whether you agree with that prediction or disagree with it. You think the Chargers can win no matter what, or you think that Indianapolis can get the win, whether or not those players are available for Los Angeles. I appreciate you so much for watching this video. Look, I make Blitz with Blender NFL and college content every day. It's amazing that we're to this part of the season where you get these sort of almost already playoff implication matchups. The 1 seed, a 2 versus 3 seed could come down to the Chargers going to Indy, or the Indianapolis Colts going to SoFi in the playoffs could come down to a game like this. It's not too early to bring up those sorts of things, but let's all enjoy this one. Daniel Jones and his resurgence, one of the best stories in the NFL, versus Justin Herbert looking to get over that hump and take the next step as starting quarterback. I appreciate you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more Blitz with Blender content in the future if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blender.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.